So I reject the premise of your question. I'm not harming law enforcement. I am standing up for law enforcement. Once again, if you deny 4 U.S. Marshals legal representation because they stood up to left-wing street militias, which may be unpopular in certain quarters of your party, then you cause every marshal across the country, for that matter, every law enforcement official across the country, to doubt whether their political superiors are going to defend them in the future. Look, if you want to have a broader debate about law enforcement, I can, but we're going to be here for a long time. It's your party that voted in lockstep for the First Step Act that let thousands of violent felons back on the street who have now committed innumerable violent crimes. It's your party who marched and chanted in the streets for defunding the police. It's the Democratic floor leader who blocked my resolution in the summer of 2020 to condemn the defund the police movement. You all voted in lockstep to confirm Vanita Gupta, the Associate Attorney General, who's responsible ultimately for these decisions. Even though I and other Republicans cautioned you she would use her position to wage a war on the police from the Department of Justice. That's what's happening now, and I'm standing up for law enforcement.
Madam President.
The senator from Nevada yield.
Yes.
For a point.
Yes.
The First Step Act, the Democrats did the First Step Act. The Republicans were in a majority. It was a bill sponsored by Senator Grassley, Durbin, Lee, and many others. And who signed it into law? Donald Trump signed it into law, the so-called Democratic measure.
The senior senator from Nevada.
So, Madam President, and I'm disappointed because I hear my colleague, but he's not listening. He keeps continuing to use the same talking point that he's defending law enforcement, when at the same time he is harming law enforcement across the country. This really is nonsensical. It does not make sense to not only me and my colleagues, but to the general public that's watching. When we are talking about pointing positions to the U.S. Marshals Service, to U.S. attorneys' offices across the country, they're essential to addressing what we see across the country and ensuring that there is law and order. And so it's the means by which you are trying to achieve your goal which we would ask you to consider. And unfortunately, I'm not hearing from my colleague from Arkansas that he's willing to reconsider it and stand up for law and order across this country and support the U.S. attorneys' offices and the marshals that need to be appointed. I yield the floor.
President.
The junior senator from Arkansas.
To respond to the senator from Illinois, yes, it's true that President Trump signed the First Step Act. The First Step Act was the worst mistake of the Trump administration. Yes, it's true that a number of Republican senators voted for it. They were wronged. They didn't start demanding that we defund the police in the summer of 2020. They condemned that. They stood up with law enforcement. I yield the floor.
Madam President.
The junior senator from Illinois.
Thank you, Madam President. I join my colleagues